Hi everyone, my name is Thảo. I am talk about present and French were religions. The first Vietnam and French. One summarize the domestic and international historical background leading to French invasion and colonization of Vietnam. The first the conquest of Vietnam by French. The decision to invade Vietnam was by Napoleon III in July 1857. It was a result not only of a missionary program but also after 1850 of the French capitalism, which generated the need for overseas markets and desire for a large French share of the Asian territories conquered by the West. The naval commander in East Asia, Regis B. Gilly Long, an advocate of French military action against Vietnam, was ordered to attack the harbor of city Torrance, Da Nang, and to turn it into French military base. Gunners Lee arrived at Torrance in August 1858 with 14 vessels and 2,500 men. The French stormed the harbor defense on September 1 and occupied the town a day later. General Sun recognized, however, that he could make no further progress around Turin and decided to attack Saigon, leaving a small behind to hold Turin. He set sail in February 1859 and seized Saigon 2 weeks later. Vietnam resistance prevented the French from advancing beyond Saigon and took French troops under new command. Until 1861, occupied the tourist provinces. The Vietnamese are unable to mount a fight resistance to invader, and their advanced weapons include a piece Chile in June 1862, which kissed the conquered territories to French 5 years. Later, additional territories in the south were placed under French rule. The entire colony was named Cochinchina. It took had French slightly more than 8 years to make themselves master of Cochinchina. It took them 16 more years extend their control over the rest of the country. They made their first attempt to enter to Red River Delta in 1873 after the French naval officer and explorer named Francis Jenner had sailed. Nam Kippur, the French colonization of Vietnam began in earnest in the 1880 and lasted 6 decades. The French justified their imperialism with a civilizing mission, a less developed backwards nation. In reality, French colonialism was chiefly driven by economic interests. French colonists were interested in acquiring land, exploiting labor, exporting resources, making profit. Vietnamese and was seized by the French collected visited into large rice and rubber plantation. Local farmers were forced to labor on this plantation in difficult, dangerous conditions. 4. The French also imposed a range of taxes on the local population and implemented monopoly and on critical goods such as sass and alcohol. French 5. Colonizers were really relatively few in numbers or assisted by collaborators among the Vietnamese people. These collaborators assisted in the administration and exploitation of the French in Indochina. 2. What did French colonists do in Vietnam and to Vietnamese people? How does their action affect Vietnamese society and Vietnamese people? Were there any accidentally good things that French colonists did in Vietnam? French expansion into Vietnam come hand in hand with the power of the church. In fact, French colonialism as a belief for colonization of the country, protection of the French glamorous honey were to lure any man who don't know better to invade the country. First, French colonists propect for natural resources in their country, particularly coal, steel, aluminum. These are stolen from their country to enrich France. The glamorous modern metropolitan France was built on the blood, born and stolen resources from colonized. If you want to be rich, someone else have to be poor. That's the way it is. So when someone says the Western democracy is the future, the best teach other what is a feudal. Do you know that what is rooted from and what in is built on? Railroads and ports built throughout Vietnam was only really used for transportation of stolen resources. The French do not see any benefits to make their colonized better. It is there to stolen back to their homeland. Second, they introduced industrial plantation, growing rubber, coffee, nuts, laboring in this plantation equals a salary with almost a certain death award. The poor worker at the end of the day saw some house friend imperial master make plantation worker condition as terrible as that of the criminal without safety gear. Third, Catholics enjoy a lot benefits with the French government, including free arable land, contractor free leather or non-believer goods and location creative fiction society, while the current Vietnam government gave a strict law about religion, child labor. This is not talking about much, not during the French colonial periods. Kids start working as soon as they reach 13 in rural areas, even earlier. The economy under French rule is basically non-existent, so children become men provide for the younger kids. It is not rare to see a kid die in coal mine in Quảng Ninh back then and heavy labor. Most kids follow their French to work on field under direct sunlight to have enough to survive. They usually blow up fuel by hands. Buffaloes was a luxury few could afford that time. Each loses in better modern culture. It is not to display it still see in no questions that come under the impression that France give Vietnam in their culture, like like seriously good job decorate for turning out kids like this. Friends start the jar entertainment Western way, dancing Western music, work, bar, club, or prostitution, but also special thrive when American come later, but the French rule was the first to organize advertise host clubs. They are paused before they rather quiet uh, Confucianism looking down on France. On this topic, let's talk about school first. My grandparents, French colonial officials, so I might get some hate. But anyway, schooling tears believe back then school was only for Vietnamese who follow French as a minion. They are true schooling by the church. A school provided by chain government both huge by number prison built. Topic Vietnam and France is different from once upon Vietnam. Vietnamese general perceive most tourists very well is considered friendly by most. Uh, three briefly present 1954 Geneva Conference background signatory and provision. What country decided to divide Vietnam as seven parallel? One day after the Dien victory, the Geneva Geneva Conference on termination of wars resulting peace in Indochina opened in Geneva, Switzerland on May 8, 1954. After 75 days of negotiating with over 8 overall session and 23 small scale meetings along with the ranks informal diplomatic activities on July 20, 1954, the Geneva Agreement ending hostility in Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia was signed. On July 21, the Geneva Conference ended a declaratory statement with important issues including the session a hospital establishing, maintaining, and strengthening a peace, holding general election to unify the country, and enforcement and agreement for entire Indochina. The nation revelation and the news praised since the victory in the Geneva, Vietnam has gone through many stages of history. 21 years of prolonged resistance of quiet out invader and unit the country, 10 years of fighting against and nearly 30 years in innovation, putting the country firmly on the path of development, industrialization, modernization, international integration. The 1954 Geneva Conference on Indochina took place in the conflict context. In the early 1950, the Cold War spread from Europe to Asia. The major countries sought to avoid direct military confrontation and gradually move close together. As of February 1954, meeting in Berlin, the big player decided conference in the Geneva discussed issue on the current in Indochina. Before discussing the possibility and resulting peace in Indochina, the world's power intend to apply to current scenario on Vietnam. That was solution dividing the country, only solving military problem, consistent with their fundamental goals in independence, unity and tolerance, as well other country on the Indo-Chinese Vietnam insists struggle for comprehensive solution both military and political terms. Military solution was a fire agreement with the withdrawal of French troops, resourcing peace Indochina term was ensure peace in development into independent unity and Taurian Lào Cambodia embodying ending French colonial rules Indochina right from the day conference that Vietnam's influence practiced international parallel with the struggle on negatives with the China's French organization press conferences holding meetings with the hundreds of French social organizations, political, social express Vietnamese goodwill determination in active combating aggression, comparison, and enemy force. These um, activities turned to France's international public opinion. His core why was a division as seven parallel um, generals past the Indochina was the most incurring fire in this term. According to arrangement, the great power Vietnam was divided into two temporary assembly areas for two opposing sides. The north, the seven parallel was several the 4th Vietnam People Army, the south 1st French Union, the 15 parallel was considered the boundary and the established along the Chu Bang River in Quảng Trị province. Enemies, the both sides has withdrawn the desired area within 3 days. During that transition periods, the people of both sides had the right to choose an area they wanted to live and could be supported in moving. At the same time, in the following period where the Ho Chi Minh government has decided widespread support from the masses, the French side also took steps by establishing diplomatic relationship with the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. The final declaration of the conference day as a division was only temporary until the free general election unified Vietnam could be held in July in 1956 under supervision on international supervisor control mission mentioned agreement hostile military could not be considered national border that at the same time final declaration of the Geneva Conference also recognized sovereignty, unity, territory of Vietnam, Cambodian, Laos, notes declaration of the French government on its lie withdraw troops from the territorial declaration for French government is rested with French troops authorized upon request agreement with local authority. They